Here we go. Here we go. Welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Here we have another crazy story. Here we have another crazy story. Imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine saying to yourself, you know what? I'm a big, bad, tough guy. Yeah. I'm the real deal. I know how to pull a trigger. Unbelievable. Delusional individuals. You have delusional individuals thinking that they're smarter than babies. Think about that. Smarter than babies. Most of these individuals, trigger pullers. Believe it or not, they're not smarter than babies at all. Here's what I mean by that. For example, you have this individual who did this thing to young Dolph. Straight drop. What a name. We're going to talk about that later. So basically, he said to himself, you know what? I made up my mind. I'm ready. Imagine that. Imagine being ready. You could be ready in a couple of different ways. Imagine being ready. Now, we're not going to talk about that right now. We're going to talk about what's going on. We're going to talk about what's going on right now. Imagine that. You no longer have the luxury of taking a shower whenever you want or by yourself anymore. Because you said to yourself in your mind, so childish mentality. You know what? I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to, believe it or not, allow them go home after that. Imagine that. Imagine committing a notorious crime and go home after that. Poor people. So basically, straight drop right now, he no longer has a luxury of taking a shower whenever he wants without someone watching him. He no longer has a luxury. Does he have a pillow? I don't know if he has a pillow. Imagine that. Imagine a pillow being a luxury. Imagine that. Imagine seeing the sun is a luxury now. Seeing the sun's a luxury now. So I just want to make sure I'm right. I just want to make sure I'm not making anything up. So straight drop. Just like how that other individuals who was involved in that heinous crime in that barbershop in Boston. Both these two individuals, believe it or not, thought they were so smart. They said, you know what? I know what to do. It's so easy. Not realizing that friends talk, family talk. Imagine that. They talk. Keep in mind, these individuals can commit crimes, notorious crimes, without telling other individuals. In return, they tell on themselves. And when those other you know what I mean. Let's not get into that. But I'm trying to figure out. They said straight drop right now. Oh no, I mean, yeah, it's the truth. It's the truth. Imagine that. Imagine that. They don't talk about it a lot. They don't talk about it a lot. But believe it or not, sometimes when you're behind the bars and you get really, really thirsty, you haven't not much water to drink. Keep in mind you don't have much. You go ahead and mess around and get water from anywhere, if you know what I mean. Let's not get too much into it. Imagine that. Imagine that. I mean, is Straight Drop gonna have the luxury to say, you know what? I want some pancakes and some bacon, a little bit of ham, a little bit of grits on the side? I don't think so. Imagine that. Imagine going out of your way just to basically deprive yourself of the basic joy of life. Something as simple as eating food. These notorious criminals, they can't eat the type of food they want to eat. Imagine that. Toughest men on the road, toughest men on the streets, but they can't eat what they want to eat behind the bars. Unbelievable. That's what I heard. I don't know. Believe it or not, these individuals go behind the bars and they ending up being an expense. Imagine that. Imagine these notorious criminals, trigger pullers, costing you money every month. A lot of them, believe it or not, they never saved up any money for their own jail time. Imagine that. These individuals sometimes they say, you know what? I'm gonna call somebody. And if you don't look out for them, they say, you know what? He's not my friend, or she's not my friend. But these individuals can't call them themselves or their own bank and say, you know what? Send me this money that you're asking me. Send me this money. You know what I mean. Poor people. But the point I'm trying to make though, this young man went out of his way to do this thing for young Dolph. They say he was compensated $800. Imagine that. Life behind the bars for $800. I mean, how much is that a day? I mean, how long is a life? Let's say 85 years. I mean, so from, he was 23, say 25 to 85. 6 years divided by 800. You know what I mean? How much is that? The individual who did this thing to to that up and coming rap in Boston, he's gonna meet the same fate as Straight Drop. Why not? He's a criminal too. I mean, why not? Imagine that. Imagine wanting to be a criminal, commit crimes. I say all the time, I'm keep on saying it, and to be free. You might as well go to jail, or you might as well go to the moon. You know what I mean? Get out of here. You're a bad guy. You bad guy. Imagine that. Bad guys want to commit crimes and don't want to go to jail. I'm just talking. That's it. It's a life behind the bars. I mean, imagine that. Is it best to have a cellmate or not? If I was thinking guess, I wouldn't want a cellmate. Imagine having a cellmate. You can't sleep at night and be comfortable. I don't think so. Wow. The life of a tough guy. I'm just talking, that's it. But I do know for certain, straight drop, gotta do life now. I mean, young man, 23 years old. Maybe 50 years, he'd be like Larry Hoover age, trying to get out. Imagine that. 50 years to be Larry Hoover age, trying to get out for murder. I'm a changed man now. I mean, the person who they did the crime to, is that person a changed person? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that person's still in the same position they was in 50 years ago. Think about that. They're the only one changing. No one else is changing. Imagine that. So in 50 years, straight drop, all he's going to be hearing about is flying cars. Imagine that. Imagine being behind the bars for so long. Nothing but flying cars right now. He don't know how to use that. He don't know how to drive one of those. Was it worth it? I don't know. He basically gave up his life for young Dolph's life in a sense. Just like how the other individual in Boston gave up his life for that other B3 rapper. Think about it. Imagine that. Imagine giving up your life for the next person. I'm just talking, that's it. But don't forget, I see them do it. They say crime don't pay. That's what I heard. I don't know. Unbelievable.